Hey, so the whole process of making this soup from start to finish would be about how long, would you say? Cutting the vegetables, doing everything, an hour or so, maybe?
Say an hour.
An hour, and that's going to feed you all week.
All week long. And it's an hour because I do extra things, like the jalapenos. That's something extra
Right.
that, you don't have to do. But,
And how much would you say this big, huge container of soup cost you to make?
Good question. I will say,
I'm going to take a wild guess and say $8 or $9.
if that.
Maybe less than $10, and you can have soup for a week, probably for 2 people.
Yes, I feed my coworkers. It's really economical. It's definitely less than $1 a day.
Less than $1 a day for at least lunch, and maybe a snack or so.
Sometimes I have it for breakfast.
You'll have it for breakfast.
Because it's so light. If I have a meal that consists of breads and pastas, it makes me sleepy. However, when I have my soup, I'm good. I can function.
Okay.
Plus, it's healthy stuff in there.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, you can buy, this is not organic vegetarian vegetable soup, but you could buy all organic stuff, and it's going to cost a little bit more, but you could do it that way too, could you not?
You could.
And what about, here's a question for you. Could you put like steak bits in there, or chicken, or anything like that? When would you put that in that type of soup?
At the very beginning.
The very, very beginning?
Very beginning. And I have made it out of, I have put chicken in there, chicken pieces. That goes in with the onions and the jalapenos.
Okay, so you cut that up in little chunks, small little chunks?
No, I just use chicken thighs.
Okay.
But you could use chicken breasts and cut in small pieces. Or
Well, what do you mean
steak.
chicken thighs? Put the whole thigh and just leave it in there, and then you'd have to cut it later?
Later, I do take it out and I get rid of the skin and the bone, and then just pretty much pull it apart.
Oh, pull it apart and then throw it back in the soup. Okay.
You can do that next time.
Or you can get boneless chicken
Yeah.
breasts or something and then cut that in chunks, throw that in.
Yeah,
Okay. But I kind of prefer the vegetarian vegetable.
I do too. It's light.
know?
And it's good for you. You feel good eating it.
I mean, you could put vegetarian burger stuff in there as a substitute. What is that other stuff you had? That chorizo or something?
That soy chorizo. I've done that to my soup too.
Okay, so you could use that. What about like
I put crumbles. TVP.
what's that?
Texturized vitamin protein.
TVP, and throw that in there, and that just would give it a little bit more texture or something.
It's for texture. Yeah.
Yeah. And what about tofu? If you got tofu, could you put tofu in there?
I put tofu in there. It will start to crumble. So what I did with mine is I cut the tofu, I fried it in garlic and a little bit of oil, and threw it in there, and it stayed together better.
Okay.
And it was really tasty.
Good.
I've also put meatless meatballs in there too.
Meatless meatballs?
Trader Joe's has them.
Okay, and just throw that in, and so then when you have your soup,
Because they're already cooked. You just want to put them at the end.
so your vegetarian vegetable soup would have meatless meatballs in there too, and you just leave them all cooked together. You wouldn't cut those up.
No. It's like a
Okay.
meatball soup with vegetables. It's really good.
Okay.
There's so many possibilities. I mean, there's so many things you can do with this. There's no
Right.
right or wrong way to do it. If you notice, I didn't measure anything. I just put it together in the pot.
Okay, so if you want to put pasta in there, you can throw however much pasta you want in there.
In any kind. It can be macaroni, it could be spaghetti, whatever you want.
Okay.
Which I do.
All right.
Brown rice is really good too.
Yeah.
But today I use that special blend. I've had it before and it's very tasty.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm anxious to see what you're going to do at the end for this soup, because it's starting to smell kind of good in here.
The grand finale is right here.
Okay, that's your grand finale. And you got kale and
cilantro.
cilantro, and that's just what you decided for this go around on this soup. And you have not thrown that in yet. You're going to throw that in last, I hear.
I'm going to shut it off, throw it in, and cover it.
Okay. All right.
It'll be good.
I'll see you in a few minutes.
Okay. Bye, Joe.
Bye. What's that?
Shall we check on the soup?
Yes.
Oh, that looks good. This is done.
That's about 15 minutes later. Now you're not, how do you know it's done all the way? Come on.
I'm checking on the zucchinis.
Yeah.
I got one zucchini and with the edge, I tapped it and it broke in two, so it's done.
Oh, okay.
So now I'm going to shut it off.
Well, what about the carrots? Don't you want to check the carrots? Or you figured once the zucchini's done, the carrots got to be done, the potatoes, because you did that first.
Exactly.
Okay.
This is going to go in next. This is going to wilt down.
Wow.
It looks like a lot, but it's...
Yeah.
Just push it in.
The key is not to fill your pot so much that when you put that in, the water's going to overflow it.
Yeah. Shut it off.
Now you're going to shut it off, right?
Yep.
You had it on high before. You're going to shut it off all the way, and you're going to leave the lid on this time.
Yes.
And now how long are you going to let that kind of steam and stew in there?
It's ready to go now. Because we could eat it now if we wanted to.
Really?
Yes, because upon contact, the kale already softened up.
Well, the kale's soft enough now to eat because you pulled all those stalks off.
Yes, those stalks would be, it would take longer for that.
Yeah.
But this is just a leaf. It's pretty much
Okay.
ready to go. It's good. Oh, that's good.
Ooh.
That's very good.
All right, so that's it.
That's it. It's going to feed a lot of people. Very economical to make.
And so during the week, how many times can you heat it up and then cool it, heat it, cool it? How are you gonna do this later on? Like after the first time that you eat, the next time you're gonna put it in a bowl and microwave it or what?
That's exactly what I do. I'll put this in a container and then have a ladle at work and I put it on the plates, microwave that.
And then how long would you microwave it, let's say?
In the microwave we have at work, it takes 2.5 minutes.
Okay, but I mean,
But it's one of those high-speed.
what, something like this type of microwave, because yours at work is different than this,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So,
Ours is very fast. It's half the time that it says anything we heat, we cut that in half because it's high voltage.
oh, okay. So that could be trial and error for anybody's microwave at their house, but you'd start at like maybe 2 minutes to heat up one bowl of soup, let's say later on.
Yeah.
During the week, you got a third of this left. You're not going to reheat the entire thing just to have one thing of soup,
Right.
one bowl of soup, and then do the same thing next time, because then that's going to mush up all your vegetables, right?
Yeah. It's a bowl at a time.
Bowl at a time
Bowl
after
at a
your
time.
initial time, because you're just going to have soup out of this when it gets done. Because like you say, you can eat this soup right now for dinner, okay? Or snack later on, whatever.
It makes for a good snack too because it's very light. It doesn't weigh you down. And it's good for you. Everything that's in there is it's good. The
Okay.
vegetables.
Okay.
So you
Wow.
want to try a bowl?
Huh?
You want to try a bowl?
I don't know. I don't think I'm hungry enough yet.
You want to see what it looks like in a bowl?
Let's see what it looks like in a bowl. You're gonna have some, I guess, huh? I just ate a little while ago. I'm not hungry yet.
Oh, you had the big burrito.
Even for soup. Even
Yeah,
though
you know what?
soup is good for you, I think I'm gonna need to wait a while for some soup.
That's because you ate that big giant burrito.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I told you, don't get full.
Okay, that soup looks actually pretty yummy.
Oh, it is. Look how pretty the kale got.
And that's it. That's what most of your soups are gonna look like. Just like this.
A little bit of everything. I'm going to dig down because I want some of those lentils that are down there.
Dig deep. And that's it. There's your vegetarian vegetable soup.
With jalapenos.
Nice.
It's really good.
That's it. Clean up your mess before you leave. Hey, I got a question for you concerning the soup.
Okay.
Now this soup has some juice in it, and I'm gonna guess that before you eat all of this soup, you're not gonna have enough juice here.
True.
Okay, so what are you going to do for more juice? Because if it was me, you know what I would do? I'm not a cook, mind you. I would just pour some water in there and be done with it, and then mix it up and heat it. And you're saying no. Now, can you tell me why you would not recommend that?
Because it would make the soup bland. We seasoned it to taste according to the amount of water that we had. But if you put more water, you need to put more seasoning too in that case.
Okay.
But not just water alone.
So what are you going to put in it? What would you recommend putting in the soup at this point? Or let's say after you get done with using 1/3 of the soup in that pot, you need some more juice. What are you going to do?
One or two things. I would buy a box of the broth that is already commercially sold.
Broth. What kind of broth? Like chicken broth or
Vegetable broth.
vegetable broth. Okay, and just pour that straight in there and mix that into the soup.
Yes. And option number 2 would be to get some water, throw in 2 cubes of the bouillon, and season that. Put some of that herb and garlic, salt-free seasoning that your mom has, salt, pepper, whatever you need, and then put that in the soup.
Okay, put that back in the soup.
Yeah, but not plain water.
Okay, no plain water. No, Joe. Ain't gonna happen, is it?
No.
All right.
But I do want my soup though the way it is, because I want to eat it more like a stew.
Oh, okay, because you can eat it just like a stew, huh? After the juice runs out.
Yeah.
And you like to do it that way too, huh?
I do.
Okay.
And what I've done too is I'll cook either pasta or rice and then have that on the side.
Oh, okay, just like vegetables or something.
That's
Or-
all it is.
Or you could mix that up with some spaghetti if you wanted, just to make it a...
We'll put some little cheese on top of there and more jalapeno.
Yeah, or you could make some rice or
Yes.
quinoa, and after you get done with eating half that soup, you can pour the vegetables right over your quinoa or your rice, couldn't you?
You certainly can.
Okay.
What I've done too is I've gotten a tortilla
Mm-hmm.
and I heat the vegetables with none of the juice, put that in there, a little cheese, and make a burrito.
Oh, okay.
It goes a long way. You can do a lot of stuff with the
Wow.
vegetables.
Or you could put some beans in there with your burrito if you want, or just the vegetables or rice,
Salsa.
all kinds of stuff.
Cheese.
All right.
Yeah. Don't throw
Okay.
any of it away.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for all of your tips.
You're welcome.
We'll have to do this again. You can show me what you cook next time. What do you think?
We'll make tortillas next time.
Ooh, tortillas.
Flour tortillas. Homemade flour tortillas.
Oh, okay.
How about that?
All right. Boy, that soup looks pretty good.
It's really hot. There's the tomatoes, kale, potato, zucchini, cauliflower, the broccoli, slaw that we put in there, jalapenos, lentils, rice. So it's pretty loaded.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it's good. Spicy too. Zucchinis. Are you sure you don't want a bowl?
I'm sure.
It's really very good.
Okay. Hey, thanks for showing me how to make a killer vegetarian vegetable soup.
Spicy soup. You're welcome.
Good job on the soup.
Thank you.